A golden opportunity missed against Golden State.
Puts up a three. One goes.
How the Rockets failed to close out the Warriors in Game 1 and what needs to happen to get it done in Game 2. We've got highlights and all the reaction coming up.
Plus, the Astros try to end their homestand with a bang. And we're breaking down the Texans draft. We know they're excited, but just how well do they address their biggest needs?
And Ed Oliver has a new home. Why the former Westfield and U of H star is excited to head north. Plus, I'm joined in studio by one of the golfers in this week's Insperity Invitational.
We're laying it all on the line. Sports Sunday starts now.
Live from KPRC Channel 2, this is Sports Sunday, presented by Nissan.
Welcome into Sports Sunday.
Hello.
Alongside Lainey Fritz, I'm Adam Wexler. Sports director Randy McElvoy will join us in just 1 second from guess where.
So you can probably guess where he's at.
Of what we're all going to be talking about probably for the next 48 hours.
And what everyone is talking about / complaining about on Twitter, at least here in Houston.
I think it's the other way around, complaining about / talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Mostly complaints. And we're going to talk all about that, you know, about the refs and what they called, did not call, whether we agree with it or not. So we're going to definitely dive in.
No question. That, of course, is the big story. The rematch that everyone's been waiting for has begun. Rockets and Warriors, fourth time in 5 years. Rockets have got to steal home court advantage here in the Western Conference semifinals. We start in the fourth quarter, one possession game. Big shot from James.
Yeah, final minute, Houston still down 2. Steph Curry with a huge 3. That makes it 103-98 Golden State.
The Rockets still had a chance to force overtime. Got to have that drop. It doesn't. Chris Paul gets the rebound, wants to get it to Eric Gordon. Part of the controversy. Lots of contact, and Chris Paul is on his way out of there. The second technical of the game. He's ejected, officiating a big question mark all night long, especially on those shots. End of the day, it's a 104-100 victory for the Golden State Warriors. They take the 1-0 lead. We're going to get into those questionable calls, or the lack thereof, in just a moment. First, though, let's get out to the Bay Area. Sports director Randy McElvoy is standing by. Hey, Randy.
Hey, Wex. Hey, Laney. I tell you what, the Rockets look at this one, a golden opportunity to knock off the defending NBA champions here in Game 1. They overcame a sluggish start. They forced a lot of turnovers for Golden State. Warriors ended up with 20 turnovers. They turned the ball over quite a bit every time they play Houston. Rockets were in it to the very end. They had their chances. Some shots didn't fall, and they walk away with a tough 104-100 loss. In the locker room, the Rockets knew they had a chance to steal Game 1 and let it slip away.
Anytime you lose, it's an opportunity loss. It's not just a game. No opportunities to win. Stuck right there the whole game. Every time they tried to make a run, we fought back, brought it back close, took the lead a few times. So we're right there.
All I know is that Game 2 is going to be different for us.
Different how?
Shooting the ball better, being offensive rebound, get more opportunities.
All right, fortunately for the Rockets now, it's a chance at redemption coming up. Game 2 coming up on Tuesday night right here at Oracle Arena as they try to even the series at 1 game apiece. Now, defensively, you look at the Rockets, they really got better as this game progressed during the ball game. And again, it kept them in it, gave them a chance. Now, as they prepare and look ahead now to game number 2, they've got to find an answer if they can. This is tough to do for Kevin Durant, the reigning 2-time Finals MVP, looking every bit the part today. How about a team-high 35, hitting a variety of shots, three-pointers, step-backs, one-footed fadeaways. I mean, this guy has the total package. A guy like KD is going to find a way to get his points. 35 straight playoff games. He's had 20 or more. That's a record. Rockets just have to make him work for it now.
It was a fun game from top to bottom. Each player that stepped on the floor brought it, brought that intensity, brought that fire. And as a basketball player, I mean, that's all you can ask for. Obviously, it's never going to be a perfect basketball game, but I think one thing we can correct is turnovers. I had 6 of them myself. Trying to be aggressive in crowds, I got to watch film and see how I can be better at that. But
Oh, you heard in that soundbite from Durant referencing his own 6 turnovers. He's looking in the mirror. He knows he's got to improve coming up in game 2. Rockets defense able to create some opportunities. They'll need much more of that coming up in game number 2 as well. They just need to capitalize on the other end. Now, guys, this is the story. You mentioned it at the top. It's what everybody's talking about, the officiating in this game 1 today. It's the big story to come out of this contest and this loss for the Rockets. A lot of people think it cost the Rockets a victory. I'm not sure I'm going to go that far with it, but certainly the officiating not good today.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go as far as to say it cost them a victory, but I think it's definitely going to define this series, how they're going to change or not change this moving forward. And for me, it's all about the consistency. This is not how they were calling things during the regular season. I think that's where the Rockets' frustration came. And as much as you can point out moments where, like right there, James did not land under himself, there were also just as many where Klay Thompson clearly on his closeout was fouling.
No question. Before the ball was gone, before he would land underneath him all game long. Funny you mentioned the word consistency. One of the announcers, we know him well, Jeff Van Gundy, actually applauded the referees for being consistent throughout today's game, which is laughable.
That's against the Rockets.
Wrong. It is the wrong call. Not on all of them, but enough of them that they should have been at the line a bunch. In fact, they even mentioned that at halftime to Coach D'Antoni and Harden. They were making the bad call. So, Randy, as we send it back out to you, what was the vibe from the guys? What were they saying after the game about how this game was called?
Well, the consensus was it didn't cost them the ball game. I mean, they know the officiating was not good. It wasn't the reason they lost, but it certainly played a role in how they attacked offensively. So they've got to look at that closely and just see how it all plays out coming up on Tuesday. You guys mentioned Mike D'Antoni. He and James Harden were addressing the situation at halftime today. Reportedly, according to D'Antoni, the officials said, hey, we admit we missed about 4 calls. And D'Antoni said afterwards, he said that was potentially 12 free throws we could have had, and maybe it would have made a difference, but it's tough to swallow when you see those kind of calls. On the other end now, a lot of people are looking at James Harden and the way he was kicking his legs out. Of course he's not going to be able to land when he's falling back on that side as well. So a lot of people think he was flopping quite a bit today, but the officiating certainly not good. Here's some reaction after the loss today.
They just came at halftime and said they missed it. That's what they told me. So they missed 4 of them. That's 12 foul shots. So be it. I mean, they're trying to do the best they can do. Obviously, it was what it was.
I just want a fair chance, man. Call the game how it's supposed to be called, and that's it. And I'll live with the results. But especially, we all know what happened a few years back with Kawhi. Like, that can change the entire series. Just call the game how it's supposed to be called, and we'll live with the results.
Well, as tough as the officiating was, Rockets now have to really look past this. Just play their game coming up on Tuesday night. Come and take care of business here in Oakland. What they wanted, at least get a split. They'll get that chance coming up on Tuesday. All right, guys, I'm going to toss it back to you. Much more coming up from Oakland. I've got a conversation with Rockets radio play-by-play analyst Matt Thomas from Sports Talk 790 coming up in a few minutes right here on Sports Sunday. Back to you guys.
Looking forward to it. Appreciate it. Now to the Astros after they dropped the first 2 games of their series with the Indians. So how about a split? If Wade Miley could do it, he pitched pretty well, gave up 6 hits, just 1 run. That on a monster shot opposite field from Carlos Santana. It snuck over the fence. They were down 1-0.
So pick it up in the 7th now. Yuli Gurriel with the deep double, almost out of there, not quite, to score Brantley, which would tie things at 1 apiece. And then Gurriel and Reddick on base as Robinson Chirinos to save the day, a 3-run homer to go up 4-1, which would be the final for the Astros win.
The Houston Texans select Titus Howard, tackle, Alabama State.
There we go. That group. This is that
Sometimes a single draft can turn a whole team around. If that's what's going to happen for the Texans, Titus Howard will likely be in the middle of it, or more accurately, on the outside of it, on the O-line, as a tackle tasked with protecting number 4. Howard was introduced Friday. Randy McIlvoy, I could say Randall, caught up with the new top pick.
Is this sinking in now that you're here, you're wearing the Texans hats, that you got the news and heard your name called?
Yes, sir, it really is. As soon as I stepped on the premises, I felt like I was at home.
When did you know that you belonged in the NFL? Was it at the Senior Bowl? Was it prior to that? When did you know that your game was where it needed to be?
Actually, after the Auburn game, had a pretty good game. I knew, hey, I have a future, playing in the NFL, and I was going to do everything I can to get there.
All right, I'm looking at you right now. 6'5", 300 what?
22 pounds.
Okay, you were a tight end and a quarterback at one time, right?
Yes, sir.
What was your weight back then?
In high school, I was around 6'3", 200, 205.
Okay, and here you are now, big guy up front on the offensive line. You grew quickly, didn't you?
Yes, sir. It came fast, actually, when I got to college. I didn't really work out in high school for real like I should have. Now I got to college, I got into a weight program that was consistent, and I worked my butt off, and my height, I got taller just by my natural, but just being naturally, and then I got bigger and stronger by the strength program they put me in, and I just started getting bigger and bigger, and started eating a lot more to help put the weight on. Because once I started playing offensive line, my coach told me, "Hey, you got to take this serious, man. You got to put some weight on."
Part of this organization, you know what Bill O'Brien's all about. They want to win and win big in this organization. You know that coming in. How much does that fire you up, knowing that you're joining in now on a team on the rise?
Just, meeting him for the first time, you can tell how his demeanor is. He's all about football, and that's the type of coach I want to play for. He loves it. He's like you say, he want to win big, and I want to win big myself. And I feel like we had the same mentality, which is why we can click, together. And it just motivates me to come in here each and every day, and give it all I got and lay it all on the line with this organization, because they laid it on the line for me last night when they picked me.
And lastly, you're going to be out there helping protect Deshaun Watson. I know that's important to you. Mm-hmm. You know what he's all about. I know you're looking forward to getting to know him a little bit.
Yeah, I've been watching Deshaun Watson, through his college career at Clemson. Seeing the adversity he went through as a kid and how he overcame that, and look at what he's doing now. Just it's inspirational, man. Just tell you what type of guy he is as a person. Not you just put the football to the side. Just see how he is as a person. So it just makes me want to go out there, lay it all on the line and protect him, and that's what I'm going to do.
So Howard brings the pressure of a #1 pick that will not automatically be a starter this season. No one else among the other 6 draftees will automatically be a starter either, which makes evaluating this draft group pretty interesting.
The Houston Texans select Lonnie Johnson, Max Sharping,
Kahale Waring,
Charles Amanahu, defensive end, Texas.
Those are some of the names the Texans hope to make a splash with, as they added 6 new players on the final 2 days of the draft. The positions of need were offensive line, check. Cornerback, check. Tight end, check. Needs fulfilled, but in 2019, there's a real good chance that on Monday night at the Saints to kick off the new season, none of them start. Howard and Max Sharping should be groomed as the long-term starters at the tackle spots.
It's about competition. We have Davenport, we have Khalil left tackle right now, we have Santrell Henderson at right tackle. So the best viable play, whoever those players are.
Johnson may have the fastest road to being a contributor, and his upside is through the roof.
Played very well in the Senior Bowl, matched up versus some very good competition. Played very well in his bowl game. Very aggressive in run support. Play perimeter press coverage, can play man coverage.
He was just a really impressive guy. I mean, the way he could talk about his life, the way he could talk about football, and then obviously his skill set on the field.
Waring is a project, but has tremendous athletic ability. Omenihu is the player the Texans likely least expected to be there at the spot where they picked him, late in the 5th round.
First thing that stands out when you see him physically from the profile, the physical profile, is his size and length. Very tall, very long, very athletic, has mobility, can play sideline to sideline.
No one was more excited about hearing his name called by the Texans than Katy Taylor grad and Aggies' 12th man, Cullen Gillespie. A cool way for the Texans to finish things off, and a guy who could be a special teams ace and might allow them to get a fullback back on the roster. Now, keep in mind, this was an 11-win team. They have a win-now roster. A lot of projectable talent from this draft class. I'm willing to say as many as 5 of them could be starters in 2020. But I don't see much payoff from this group now in 2019. If you want to see some Houston impact from this year's draft, just head up to Buffalo. Laney's got that story.
That's right. It has been a long time coming for Houston's All-American defensive tackle Ed Oliver, and his moment finally came on Thursday night in round 1, drafted 9th overall by the Buffalo Bills. He was then officially introduced by his new team in New York on Friday. Oliver, who was predicted to be drafted as early as 3rd overall, said he knew for certain that if he wasn't, that he would be selected by the Bills 9th. This franchise is a dream come true for Oliver, and he's very confident that he's already ready.
I feel like it's a long time coming. I feel like I could have played in the league after my freshman year. It was just another waiting game. So I feel like I had to play 2 more years before I was able to come out. So I've been waiting for this opportunity for 2 years to actually get a chance to step on an NFL field and play and compete. So I'm just ready to go.
Rookie minicamp and even training camp quickly approaching. Then Ed Oliver and the Bills will open the preseason at home against Andrew Luck and the Colts. Their season officially starts on the road against the Jets, but Oliver won't be playing in Houston this season. But I do have a feeling he'll have a Houston contingent in Dallas for a November 28th meeting with the Cowboys.
No doubt about that. Still to come on Sports Sunday, we head back out to Oakland. Rockets radio analyst Matt Thomas joins Randy. They'll break down where does Houston go from here.
I don't know. I thought we played hard as we could play, and things just didn't go our way. And we did a good job last 20 seconds, just coming up with the steal, having a chance at a tie on a 3-point that James, could have got hit good and not. Who knows? I mean, I know, but anyway, whatever.
All right, welcome back to Sports Sunday, everybody, live from Oakland. That, of course, head coach Mike D'Antoni after the Rockets lose Game 1, 104-100 to open this best-of-7 series. Now, earlier this afternoon, after the game ended, I had a chance to catch up with Rockets radio analyst, play-by-play man Matt Thomas. He had a courtside seat for this one today. Here with Matt Thomas, Sports Talk 790, one of the voices of the Rockets. You called it today, Game 1. Your initial takeaway from this one, so close, they had their chances.
A little exasperated, honestly. Golden State turns the ball over. Steph doesn't have a typical Steph game. Yeah. The Rockets don't shoot well in the first quarter, then come all the way back. James gets to the free throw line. There's a lot of different parameters that end up ultimately being disappointed because this building has caused them a lot of heartache, especially in the postseason than previous years.
What about Kevin Durant? I mean, you heard from P.J. Tucker and these guys after the game that said he's going to score. The man is going to score and get his points.
Well, James Harden has the unguardable tour for the Houston Rockets. I think James has watched Kevin Durant have an unguardable career. He's 7'1". I don't care what his height says. He's got length. He can shoot anywhere on the floor. Doesn't have to rely on the three-point shot. Maybe one of the greatest mid-range shooters ever to play the game. So he's unstoppable. You just hope that there is an off night. And I like the free throws. Normally automatic. He missed some today. So just a variety of things. But, yeah, to Kevin's credit, he's fantastic.
All right, Rockets were out rebounded, did not shoot the ball well from three. I believe it was like 29%, I think, on threes tonight. Looking ahead to Game 2, what are some key areas in your mind from what you saw tonight the Rockets need to improve on to get a game here?
Yeah, ultimately, you got to get better shooting the three-point shot. That's first and foremost. Secondly, let's not get this crowd in a frenzy. I would have to probably guess that there's going to be a lot of conversation on my show on Monday about the officiating and the step back and the landing spot. I think that's going to take over. It just can't ultimately take over because if it does, the Rockets don't want to find themselves down 0-2.
All right, this is a confident Rocket team. Even in the locker room, they weren't laughing or they were serious in there, but they feel like, hey, we can play with these guys. We can win here Tuesday night, get this series even. And they know how they match up with the Golden State.
There's no NBA arena that has seen the Rockets win more against really good competition than this one right here. So they absolutely can do that. And they have won some incredible contests, including winning a game here in the postseason last year. So I think obviously disappointment because you had the rest and they didn't. But the goal was to get a split. You hear that all the time in sports, and I think that definitely plays in this situation here. I think coming back 1-1 is a dramatically different situation than if you were to fall 0-2 here.
All right, Rockets down 0-1. Game 2 coming up on Tuesday night. He is Matt Thomas. Matt Thomas Show, 12-3, Sports Talk 790. Good stuff, man. Appreciate it. All right, great conversation. As he mentioned, I believe, too, the Rockets have a very good chance of getting this win coming up on Tuesday, 9:30 tip Central Time. A quick time out here on Sports Sunday. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Insperity Invitational coming to town this week. We're coming right back.
This is Sports Sunday, presented by Nissan.
The Insperity Invitational kicking off this week. The Pro-Am starting on Monday. The tournament starting on Friday. And we're lucky enough to be joined with one of the golfers for this year, Barry Lane. He told me you have been in this tournament 2 times before, so this will be your 3rd time. Are you excited to be back at it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's always nice to come over from Europe and play in America and see all the guys we used to play with in my early career in the 90s. So it's amazing tournament and a great place.
You've seen golf courses all over the world. Nothing probably impresses you, but what do you like about this Woodlands course?
I think it's just a wonderful place. It's a really lovely golf course, and the weather's perfect. It's usually in great condition, and it's a really sort of family tournament. I think that's what I like about it.
People who maybe haven't been before, what would you tell them to expect, golf fans that may be coming out to the Woodlands to watch?
I think they might be a bit surprised at how good the guys are.
Yeah.
They never lose their ability, never lose their enthusiasm, and the scoring will be good. I think we're a little bit more relaxed now. We're over 50,
right?
So I think we chat.
Still
a little
very
bit.
competitive. You haven't lost that
No,
competitive
I think we all. That's why we keep playing.
Right,
I mean,
you love it.
We love to win. Love to win.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to send it to Randy for more on the Insperity Invitational.
All right, time to wrap it up here in Oakland outside of Oracle Arena. Laney, Wex, it didn't go the Rockets' way. They fell short by 4. Let's get it corrected. Practice tomorrow. Game 2 coming up Tuesday night. I feel good about a bounce-back win, and I think they're going to get this split here in Oakland. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah, as we all know, they can't win the series if they don't win a game there. One thing I've got to say, though, hey, Chris Paul, in a one-possession game, don't get a technical and essentially end the game, which is exactly what happened right there.
I agree. Let's have no more technicals.
No more technicals, and we're all done.